Alright, in this quick video I am going to talk about instant gratification on the one hand versus long-term value on the other hand. Now, this is a hugely important topic for anyone, I believe, and a lot of people are not paying attention to it at all. A lot of people actually don't even know that there is something like instant gratification thinking versus long-term value thinking. So I think there's a lot of value in learning about that kind of thinking. Okay, so what is instant gratification? Instant gratification is when you are giving in as a person into some urge that you just have and follow that urge because you know that you are going to be rewarded by any form of instant gratification. For example, you're checking Facebook and you know this is going to give you like a small emotional spike. Or you're checking out a funny YouTube video and you're like, ha, this is awesome. So it gives you instant gratification. It makes you feel good inside of yourself almost instantly. So this can be applied to all areas of life though. For example, if you're eating a burger at McDonald's, it's instant gratification. You instantly feel this amazing taste, which comes from the taste enhancers in the burgers, but it tastes good nonetheless, right? So if you're eating your cheeseburger at McDonald's, you get that feeling of instant gratification. Or if you had a long day at work and you're coming home and you're just immediately getting ready to chill on the couch, that's instant gratification. It rewards you instantly. You instantly feel a little better about yourself. And on the other hand, you have long-term value that almost never comes in the form of instant gratification. So if anything really has a long-term value for you as a person, and on the path that you're taking as a person and in terms of self-development as a person, if that is the case, it's almost never that feeling of instant gratification. You usually have to work for that kind of long-term value, and work is never satisfying instantly, right? So you can actually see that very clearly with the examples that I just gave you. If you take the other side of the spectrum, for example with the McDonald's burger, the long-term value of such a burger is really shitty. I mean, it's actually negative. You're gonna get fat if you keep eating like that, and you're gonna get a lot more unhealthy. So what would be the right thing to do? As we all know, in the back of our heads, the right thing would be to go home, make a nice whole food dinner with fresh vegetables, fresh ingredients, and just prepare that meal by yourself. You know what's going into it, maybe organic food. So that would definitely have a positive long-term value for you as a person. It would help you being more healthy, more vital, and yet you are a lot more tempted to give into the food that gives you instant gratification, because the instant gratification, as the word says, gives you really this feeling of joy and pleasure instantly, and you don't care what happens 1 year, 5 years, 50 years down the road if you keep eating at McDonald's, right? You just care about that instant gratification, as do I a lot of the times. So on the one hand, you have the really healthy organic meal that will keep you healthy and vital for years and decades to come, and really will bring the best out of you as a person. And on the other hand, you have this shitty, ridiculous Happy Meal cheeseburger dinner at McDonald's, which is basically the worst thing you can eat as a dinner. But at the same time, it gives you that instant gratification, and that's why so many people give into that urge. And you have that in all areas of life, as I mentioned before. So if you're lying down on the couch, instant gratification, instead of going for a run after work, which would bring a lot more long-term value, but is also a lot more harder, and you need to have the willpower to maintain that kind of habit. So it's just a lot more difficult, and really the joy that you get out of it is not as instant as just lying down and relaxing. And you know, then you have watching TV, instant gratification, versus reading a book, which gives you long-term value in terms of knowledge and really making you smarter in the long run. But it's not instant, so it's just not clicking with a lot of people. And you can really see this kind of pattern over and over and over again throughout all areas of life. And for every person, it's the same problem. And so many people just give in to the instant gratification whenever they have a choice. And that is just a really, really horrible thing to do if you think long term. And I mean, the reason why they give in is because they do not think long term. They think, what's the next pleasure that I can get? And that's why they give in. So I know it's very, very tough to make this kind of these kind of decisions and really try to shift your focus onto the things that have the better long-term ROI, return on investment. So if you spend your time doing that kind of activity, you just get so much more value out of it in the long term than if you focus on the instant gratification. And I know it's very tough to make these kind of decisions and do the harder thing. And I don't always manage to do that. I mean, I tend to give in, especially after a long day, into instant gratification. But I do think that it is very valuable to at least know that this kind of thinking exists in our brains, and that this is how we make decisions. That we are always tempted to go towards what gives us pleasure as fast as possible, and that is almost the thing that has a horrible long-term effect on our person. So I do think it is very important to at least be aware of that distinction, and at least it gives you the option to consciously make your decisions. Keep that in mind, and talk to you next time.